everyone. Welcome to Artistically Married, where art and opportunity collide. We're your hosts, Jake Ackerman.
And Brianne Steinberg.
All right, today we have Sharvin Keshavarznia with us.
Wow, just rolled off the tongue.
Yeah.
Off air, I was worried. I usually do the introductions.
Well, I've heard it before more.
Yeah, good job. Step up.
Wow,
amazing.
that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was perfect. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're so excited. We talk a lot. We've done a lot of interviews with artists around Niagara, but definitely this is my niche and something that I'm becoming more and more passionate about every day is how to run my business and how to, work together in partnerships and make my business flourish with other businesses around us. So I think sitting down with gurus like you is exactly, definitely my forte as of late. So yeah, we're so excited that you're here.
Well, thank you. And yes, I wouldn't say I'm a guru, but
What?
thank you.
Yes, you are.
My goodness.
He's saying he's denying it, but we'll find out. We'll see.
I'm a hard worker. Maybe.
Yeah,
You could say
exactly. Yeah. And I think that's really, at the end of the day, that's kind of what it takes. We're going to talk about this today, but that's really what it takes to be successful in business, right? Is to be that determined.
That's a great word. Yes. Determined. Go after it.
Exactly.
And never stop.
Yeah. And don't stop. There's no ending.
Yeah.
So talk to us, and you're doing wonderful things for St. Catharines, doing some, I would say facelifting in St. Catharines. So talk to us kind of what drew you to St. Catharines in the first place and kind of how you got started, investing in the downtown.
Yeah. Well, St. Catharines is a great place. It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great size city. It's close to, some big market cities. If you want to go to a city, you definitely have the opportunity. But what drew me, I guess, to St. Catharines has great history. It has a great foundation. It's been around for a couple hundred years. Actually, we're getting ready to celebrate our 150th anniversary officially. But it has great history, but also it's in transition. And there's a great opportunity for being part of the future and what's coming up. There's a lot of opportunities just from the changes that are coming through. And it's very exciting. It's an opportunistic time to be in this area.
Can you talk to us about like some of the kind of the changes that you're seeing in the city?
Yeah, so St. Catharines was an industrial city mainly. It was backed by General Motors and a lot of the subsidiary companies that went along with that industry. And 15 years ago, they started winding it down and one factory closed and a lot of those subsidiary companies also closed. So St. Catharines was kind of in a transition and their largest employer essentially left. So yes, it was a little detrimental to the local economy for their largest employer to leave, but it also gave the opportunity to refocus the city and put its future in industries that are a little bit more predictable
and sustainable, right?
Yeah. So Brock stepped up to be its largest employer. We have a brand new research hospital. There's been investments in Wi-Fi wires and capacities, and now our local economy is backed on a university and a hospital. So way better industries to be kind of backed on. So yeah, now the next step is we have some anchor businesses in the city. How do we attract some of the newer type businesses and invite those companies to come do business in our city?
Yeah, and it made me think too. I mean, obviously, we're going now multi-generational, but I think as quickly as you can think that all of a sudden, people are out of jobs, you can also really quickly flip on the other side and think there's people looking for jobs, right? So as a business owner, we're always looking for team. We're going to talk about this later, but like, we're always looking for people that are like hungry for employment and they want to like get on board with whatever, businesses we're creating. So I think, you can look at it as in a pessimistic, like, oh my gosh, we have all these people out of work, but we can also flip it and look, at it as a business perspective and say like, yeah, these are people that are going to be looking for, a change of job. So, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree that it could be a lot of potential instead of it being a negative.
Yeah. Yeah. With great history, we have a lot of things already in place. There are trained people essentially.
Right.
So how to use what you have and then also put in place some policies to retrain. And if you have the bodies, it's, you can make a great transition.
Right. Can you talk to us? We hear the word gentrification being thrown around a lot. We heard it a lot going back, I would say about 10 years ago, coming out of Toronto and then, later into Hamilton and Burlington. And it's making its way down to Niagara Falls. It ends up being a controversial topic for people. How do you kind of see gentrification and the rejuvenating role it plays in downtown?
Yeah, I mean, gentrification is definitely is highlighted more in larger markets. Probably the biggest one, most popular, is San Francisco, where you hear that firefighters who work in San Francisco can't afford to live there. Mm-hmm. So how do you control it? I mean, economic conditions are really, they're affected by many different aspects, and it's hard to really control how and what the growth and where it's going to be. Really what cities can do, or municipalities, the biggest tool they have is policy, and how they can use policy to try and create or battle against gentrification. When you have markets that change, using probably an easy one to look at is maybe New York City. Major city, very expensive to live in. The taxes that are associated with some of these properties are just enormous. And how do you battle against gentrification, when your taxes triple or quadruple? Mm-hmm. So, it's more of a business move or a business reaction that unfortunately some segments of the population get caught up in, and it is an issue. I mean, I guess I'll leave it at that. But it's not. If you're looking for a solution, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, as an investor ourselves, we picture like gentrification as such a wonderful thing, because I take the money part out and I right away see like safety and access to, having access to different products that we couldn't have had before, or having hospitals and schools and things coming into our location that maybe wouldn't have felt safe operating before. So it's really hard because I'm skewed in terms of like, I've never had the feeling of a ceiling. I've had lots of times in my life where I had $50 in my bank account. I'm not like saying, we have all this money. I'm just saying I really view gentrification as like a cleaning up of a location. So I always had this optimistic perspective of like, this is great. Where people are taking and they're investing and they're taking a risk on this area that was really struggling. And, that same person who's spending money to like clean up their building or clean up, repave their driveway is also planting flowers, and they're sweeping their driveway, and they're putting effort and emotion into a place. So I took the money out of it, and I just picture it as being like, they're making something prosperous. They're making it beautiful, So it's so hard for me when people get up in arms and they're like fighting against cleaning up an area. Like that to me blows my mind, because they're so fixated on the fact that their tax bracket's going to go up, So I have a hard time with it that like people are fighting against things like this, right? And obviously you see it. People are probably fighting against the cleaning up that you're doing.
Yeah, change is hard for certain aspects of the population. But you're right. I mean, it's the other side of the coin is that it can be quite positive,
right?
The change. So how do you measure it? And some of the instances, and I don't want to downplay it because really it is an issue.
I know.
But it sort of gets a lot of traction because it seems to be such an unfair position that people are in. And it really tends to deal with very big markets. I wouldn't say that that gentrification is an issue, say, in the it's not a leading challenge in the Niagara area.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking about like small margins, right?
I feel like for the most part, it's cost of living, and people might complain that, it's that new building next to me, and now I can't afford my house or something like that. But it's just everywhere. It's like it's not happening just because of that, I guess.
Yeah, and I love that you touched on policy, because I feel like it does, like, it's almost like the governing bodies, let's say not the government, but the governing bodies or the people that are in leadership are really taking advantage. Because really, when it comes hand to hand, I mean, if I buy a property and I dump $50,000 in it and I go and sell it for $90,000, that's just a switch of hands. Whoever bought that property has paid the difference because I did the manual labor, I did the lift, and now they've bought that property. It's the governing bodies that are coming in that are taking advantage and now saying, well, now I can tax it, triple the amount. It's not the change over hands. It's not, if you're going to buy a property that you can afford. When I go invest, I know what my budget is and that's what I buy. I think it is more that like people are pointing fingers at each other, and really we should be pointing fingers at the governing bodies that are taking advantage of gentrification, because that's what really kills us, right? I mean, the cost of my property, I knew what I was getting into. Maybe an interest rate a little, like you said, these smaller markets aren't a big deal. It's when the governing bodies come in and say, well, now this is now worth, the X amount of property tax, and it's 5 times the amount.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's a great point too. And yes, you could even take it a step further and make the argument that not only is the government bodies making out with tax increases, but everybody down the line, including the pizza shop, will now charge a premium on their pizza because they have a new market to go after.
Right.
So it goes way down the line. School boards, yes, all down the line.
Yeah, they're like, oh, a new mall went in. Now I'm going to charge, $50 more for my goods and services. So yeah, it really ends up being like people taking advantage and thinking. And then, like I said, I think the frustrating part for anybody watching is that you get a bad rep for it. And you're like, what? I'm doing all this great work.
Yeah.
And now you're mad at me. It's my fault that everything else is costing around it. So I think it really is like you said, it's very controversial. It's a big issue that we're facing within our suburbs, which is hard. What do you think the biggest challenge that the downtown core is facing right now?
Wow. Good question. It's complex.
Yeah.
Like you have to start with that. You can't point the finger at any one thing. We have a mental health crisis. There's a lot of homeless and unhoused right now. The drug scene, the type of drugs that are on the streets right now are very strong, and they add to a lot of different challenges for municipalities to deal with, including our own downtown St. Catharines. Our leadership also are put in positions where they're having to field certain areas of support where they're maybe technically not even supposed to be. Example where city is responsible for something in a region or the province. So it is very complex. And if you're asking me what the biggest challenge is I'd go back to where it starts. And for me, walking the streets every day, I see the drug activity and I see the devastation it has on its users.
Yeah.
They're so strong that it completely puts them in a state where rehabilitation is very challenging.
Yeah.
So
just getting them to buy into rehabilitation at this point, it's so far gone.
I spend a lot of time, and I'm no expert, believe me, I'm not a public health expert at all, but I do walk the streets every day. I speak to quite a few people, and a lot of them have given up. They are more happy on the street, and the drugs have totally taken over. So that to me is the biggest problem. If you can't have the logical conversations and move things forward in that capacity, it becomes extremely challenging.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of smart people working on it. I don't want to, most cities are dealing with this in Canada, most medium to large cities. And it's something that, a lot of smart people are working on. So hopefully we can, figure out how we can help some people.
Yeah. I always feel like it ends up being like a snowball effect, right? Where like you in your head, you think like, how does it start? And a lot of times, like same thing, I've always been one to like dig in and ask all these questions that are uncomfortable. And for me, I feel like it really does come from like somebody losing their job. And that's devastating to someone. And we've studied so much and we've talked so much about like Dharma, and it's like a Buddhist concept of like purpose. And we all have it, and we have different facets of our life that give us purpose and give us these things. And I think really getting employment, whatever capacity it looks like, right from young ages, like, we're doing it with our kids in our houses now, right? Just giving them that purpose. Like, what are you passionate about? And how can I facilitate you leaning into that, because I feel like that might be the answer to like, I mean, obviously giving people enough income from their purpose, whatever their purpose is. I feel like if we can really focus in on giving people something to do, then we could keep them off. I don't know if it's too far gone once they're into those drugs, because I agree with you. I've had conversations with people where I was like, nothing's happening anymore. So how do you talk some out of that? But I think at a young age, if we start targeting purpose for people, I think it's really going to have an effect. Maybe it'll be a couple generations later, but I think at the end of the day, like that's kind of what ended up starting this whole situation is job loss that was never replaced. We're taking away jobs because robots are taking away jobs or whatever reason people are losing jobs. Employment is going out, you know, we're closing a factory, and you're left with all these people that don't have anything to do. And now because they don't have anything to do, they're not making any money, and then they end up homeless, and now they have nothing to live for. So yeah, my hope is that it comes down to a purpose thing, and we could get kids from a young age, targeting kids to understand like what their purpose is. Hopefully it's not their phones. Hopefully instead their screens.
My goodness.
You know what? Maybe screens are going to keep people off drugs.
I don't know. Maybe screens are the new drug. I don't
right?
know. Yeah.
I think screens are the new drug. 100%. Yeah, my kids, like, I feel like, yeah, you talk to teenagers now even, and like, you know, they're like, nah, like, I don't drink. I don't smoke pot. I don't go with my friends. I just sit on my phone all day.
My phone, yes. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah. So maybe the phone will keep them off the drugs and keep them in our houses. They're never going to move out.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, you were talking about kind of walking the streets and interacting with some of the people downtown. Can you give us a success story of maybe somebody that was really excited about your project? And then maybe the other side of some of the residents that you've dealt with that are frustrated with your initiatives.
Well, we just recently had a really big controversial pitch to the city. The city wanted to make the downtown area a heritage.
Oh, God.
Yes, a heritage zone.
Which means like no development?
Well, it means it complicates development.
Right.
And it was a very controversial. A lot of different point of views were at the table. And the city was involved, the media was involved, the public was involved, the business community was involved, and it ended up they voted against it. It was very close that they voted against the Heritage District. But that's just an example where heritage is very important for our city with great history, and how do you shape the policies to keep the history intact but not stifle or not affect business opportunity and development. Yeah. So it was really controversial. It was very stressful in terms of an investor and also a developer, because we have great plans for a lot of our properties, and we're also very committed to heritage preservation. A lot of our buildings are over 100 years old, and we've worked really hard to make sure that they look the part as well.
Stay represented.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So bring them
and
up
a lot of that stuff, typically, I mean, there are ones that are just like demo it and high rise, but lots of like developers are interested in like keeping anything that's like, heritage involved in a building, big, old, like, wood and stone. Like a lot of times, we want to preserve stuff like that, right? So
yeah,
they need to work with businesses so that we can continue to make, a lot of times you're just trying to make the building functional. Like you're trying to make it, heating in it or plumbing or,
There's a bit of a misconception where they think that development means demolish and start from new.
Exactly.
And if you look at the business model, really, I mean, if you can retrofit, that's the way to go.
Way cheaper.
And also the cities are more motivated. If you do a retrofit, they're more motivated to bend some of the planning and building requirements to be able to get your project approved.
Get permits,
right? Okay. So, and there's also redevelopment grants. There's some tools that the cities, the municipalities have made available to be able to even promote retrofit.
Right.
So the doomsday, they're going to tear it down and we're going to lose it forever is more of a soundbite to make the situation seem more of priority than it really is. I mean,
yeah, more drama.
More drama, yes.
Yeah. No, but it's true. I always tell people that. I'm like, no, like, have you ever, it's crazy because you talk to anybody who is not done development and you're like, I never look at a building and think, hey, you know what would be a good idea? I'm going to pay to tear it all down and then I'm going to pay to do the foundation again, and then I'm going to pay to rebuild it. No, I've never once said that.
Yeah.
Every time I've looked at a property or a house that we've worked on, I'm like, okay, what can we salvage? Because we're not going to spend money if we don't have to.
Yeah.
So it's wild that people right away think that like that's what we're after. You know, that's what we're out for. Like
normally, if it's coming down, it means the property or the building is
not safe anymore.
Yeah, it's too far gone.
Yeah, it's not safe for people to be in there. And then what would you rather leave that? You'd rather have an unusable space, you know, an unusable building sitting there. Like at least I'm taking responsibility for it.
The challenge becomes when municipalities want to come in and they, for instance, if they were to push a heritage blanket, a heritage zone district, it doesn't really encourage development. So just the name of it will start to create and further exacerbate the issue of buildings deteriorating because investors will stay away.
Totally. We were looking at a school in Font Hill, and everyone I talked to, or it wasn't in Font Hill, it was in...
Oh, what's it called?
I know. I'm having a block. It's super close to Font Hill.
No, not Font Hill.
Pelham?
It's on the Niagara River. It's just past St. David's. What do they call it? Queenston.
Yeah, it was a school in Queenston. And everyone I said, I was like, we're going to look at this school. They're like, don't go near that place. Like, you won't be able to do anything to it. So, yeah, you're right. As soon as it has that blanket, I mean, investors talk to each other, right? Like, that's our superpower is that we work together and we work in partnership and we give each other information. So, yeah, I think, you're right. It's crazy when they do put those labels on it, how much it will prohibit development going forward, because people are just like, I know how much time, first of all, most of it's time, right? Trying to like get your permits is like, I ask, then you say no, I ask, then you say no, I ask, and you say no. So we just don't want to put the time and the money and the effort into it when it's already, you've already kind of deemed it as untouchable.
Yeah.
Which is sad because really, I mean, we want to keep moving in forward directions in terms of like usable buildings. Like you don't want a building that's not usable. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised. Like there is a lot of places downtown St. Catharines that we've seen them vacant for so long, and it's like,
half of them are heritage designated. That's also the issue.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, no one's going to touch it. So what's your hope? How do you kind of visualize the downtown St. Catharines 10 years from now?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I think in 10 years, we'll have figured out some of our challenges that we've been dealing with for the last, say, 10 or 5 to 10 years. I feel that this downtown St. Catharines has the ability to be the capital of Niagara.
Yeah.
It has the capacity for large buildings. It has a city that's actually poised to be able to curate and work with development to bring more development downtown. They've already identified it as an area where they want to bring high-rise buildings to. So we're already laying the groundwork. There's capacity available for sewer and water still downtown. So there is development that can start quite quickly. That's not the case in other parts of the city or even other parts of Niagara. But what would I think it is in 10 years? Well, I think it'd be vibrant. I think it'd be diverse. I think we're going to emphasize our history and use that as a promotion tool or as a tool to show how great our city is. And also for the future, we have the opportunity to be innovative to make our new developments the new attraction of the city. And we can have a part of the city that's old and historic, another part of the city that's beautiful and new and vibrant and attractive for our citizens and our community.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I think you brought on a really good point at the top of our episode, which was that right now it is the biggest employer is the hospital and the university. So now we're talking about an entire population that's like coming out of either university or coming out of a hospital scenario. I mean, think of what that does for a population, right? Our professionals, our like white collars are going to be off the charts, right? These people are coming straight out of university. They're hungry, they're passionate, and they're smart. And, you know, typically it's not unheard of that people will come out of institutionalized, you know, their education and settle in the area that they're around that they went to school for. So as our university continues to grow, now we're getting one in Niagara Falls. So I think you hit the nail on the head that like there's so much potential for growth. The city can handle it. And also we're now pumping out 2 major employers that are just such like great professional atmospheres, right? Like what more do you want than doctors, educated people, you know, like
Absolutely.
University degrees, right? It's
a great foundation for the city to be built on, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and the restaurants down there. Oh my gosh. Don't get me started on the food. University towns are so like artsy and just so great.
Well, you know, in St. Catharines, art scene is getting like really great.
I know.
We have so many cool even spaces where they're showcasing art, the art community, music, food,
comedy clubs.
This is just a
art
start.
Galleries. I know. Yeah, it's so great. And again, typically, you know, the universities will spawn a lot of that too, right? They're young and passionate, spending daddy's money. This is great. My kids are, anytime somebody talks to my kids about university, I'm like, you're going to Brock. Like, I am not paying for you to go sleep somewhere else. There's a university around the street or around the corner. Speaking of that, I would love to switch gears and kind of talk more. I know we've been talking about St. Catharines in the building, but I would love to switch gears and talk about your real estate endeavors. With you guys are also in an Artistically Married partnership, which I love.
Yes.
I was thinking that today, having you on, I was like, oh, we could have got your wife too at the same time.
Yes. Well, maybe next time I'll bring her along. Yeah,
totally. We'd love to have you guys together because we love people that are similar to us that are like investing as a partnership. I think it makes so much more passion and interest in your like strengthening your marriage for us anyways. So talk to us about how you and your wife are running your real estate and how you got into it.
We fell into it. We were looking for jobs essentially. We had moved back to St. Catharines, and a friend of mine asked me, I didn't have a job. I was looking for a job, and a friend of mine asked me to help with his roof. And I'd never roofed before, and I did it, and it hurt every muscle in my body.
I was gonna say it's intense.
But I ended up, I made some money, and that's how it started, really, out of necessity. Natalie was a lab tech at the time. She was working at the hospital, and we both wanted a change. I was looking for an office job. I had spent over a year, looking for some sort of office job, and it kind of came out of necessity. I started a renovation business after I did that one roof because couldn't find a job. So it started that way. I studied international business. My plan was to, I did some internship with the Canadian Embassy in Washington, D.C., and I really was trying to get into civil service.
Okay.
And it didn't end up working out. The job posting my first job posting I went after was $22,000 a year in a remote village in Africa.
Oh my God!
So that career path didn't end up working out, and we got into real estate. So we did the renovation business for a little bit. Natalie really wanted to get out of the hospital. She wanted to get into real estate, so she's really good with sales and people. So she went and got her realtor license, and lo and behold, we got into our first property. I think there was 3 partners, and we each put $6,000 down. That was our first venture.
I love those stories.
Yeah, and it was a student rental, and it was really hard to manage. My goodness, we learned some lessons.
Right. Students are disgusting.
They're tough to manage.
Yeah.
They're just tough to manage. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
But we had some
That's very polite of you.
Yes. That was our first venture.
Long gone are the days of $6,000 for a down payment.
Yes. Well, yeah, it was 18. It was 18.
Okay.
And we qualified for a program or something. We fought it wasn't easy. The property I think was $320,000. I think that's what we paid for it. Yeah.
It's amazing. I feel like we're going to see those prices again soon.
Maybe.
It's happening.
Yeah.
It's scary, but it's happening.
Yeah. We'll see. Definitely, I mean, the big jump up like that it's not natural. So.
No,
for sure.
No, I remember talking to Aaron about that and him just being like, this is going to explode. Like, there's no way. This cannot keep going. I think it was just such a microcosm and such a bubble with like people being stuck in their houses and people being able to work from home. So I think it was really like pushed by the Toronto market coming down here. And now we're seeing what it looks like when something gets interfered with like that, because it's not reality. No one from Niagara could pay those prices.
It was
right?
just something to do. Like you could go see a house, but you couldn't go to the.
You couldn't go
anywhere else.
You couldn't go to see your dentist,
like
but you could go see a house, right?
Yes.
So yeah. I wish now in hindsight, if I would have been into like the social media that I am now, I would have totally been out there videoing people like lining up for a freaking house showing. Like no, unheard of anymore, right?
Yeah, my goodness, those were the times.
Yeah,
times.
Ridiculous. So what do you kind of both bring to the table now? I mean, you said you mentioned your wife's really good at sales. How do you guys work your relationship together in terms of your business? You write the checks? No.
Well, no. I mean, we share an office. We also share staff and admin staff that so we can run a little bit more efficiently. Mm-hmm. So the businesses do overlap, but she, has her own business and I have my own business and kind of responsible for each of our own businesses.
Okay.
I'm sure this is how you guys also operate, but we're our biggest support for each other and bounce ideas off each other, first. Yeah. So, I mean, although we don't work directly with each other, I think we would both say that it wouldn't be possible really to do what we do without the other.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that goes in terms of like business, but it's also just like you mentioned, the emotional support, right?
Emotional support.
Of like having
absolutely.
a sound partner, having a soundboard to be like, I need to say this out loud. And you could just see it in their eyes, right? And they're like, you're like, okay, it's a no.
Yes. Yeah.
Their eyes start to roll back in their head. You're like, that's the sign. That's the sign right there. They're not into it. Okay, yeah. And then the other thing I was really curious, because we are so passionate about this, is how are you raising your kids and how are you bringing your kids on board to your business ventures?
Wow, yeah, this is a good one. I mean, our kids are with us quite a bit, and they hear all the conversations and they see all the different stuff that happens, all the phone conversations while we're driving. We've heard from multiple people that our children speak like adults.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing, but no, I mean, outside our kids are great kids, but no, I mean, my 11-year-old knows quite a bit about business. He's very well versed in interest and calculations and mortgages. We talk about real estate quite a bit when we drive around. My 2-year-old is already saying, words like, what did she say the other day? She said, Mommy, you gonna sell a house? So yes, I mean, being a small business, you are constantly talking about businesses even happening at home when you're out of the office, and
right.
The kids end up picking that up. I was worried at first. I mean, but our kids just seem to be part of it now. Mm-hmm. I can't wait till my son is, or even my daughter too, but when they're old enough to be parts of the business,
Right. Yeah, I think it's funny. I don't know, you can comment on this, like how you grew up, but like I grew up, my mom was a teacher and my dad was like a factory worker. So there wasn't really a lot of discussion about their jobs, period. Like it just wasn't really a discussion, like how they made money or how our house was getting paid off. Like it wasn't part of the conversation. When people have a job, they really do just go to their work and they take their paycheck and they come home and they live their life. So I think it's a really maybe like an more innocent way of like living, but I really wasn't exposed to like any of those things until I was my own job, like getting into my own career and like I was starting from scratch. I felt like with my financial literacy and my education, where like, yeah, we feel the same way. Like our kids, there's no way to keep them out of it. there's no, I mean, anybody can tell you, and I'm taking all the business courses to say like, mind your boundaries. There's no boundaries. No. Like you can't boundary your brain.
Yeah.
My brain is just constantly, that's how it's going. That's how it's thinking. So like for us to, you know, segregate. And I think now I'm like leaning right into it. I'm like, this is great. And I can't wait for my kids to have like a more active role. In fact, I'm constantly trying to like, what can I give them that's going to be something? And I think that maybe goes back to that whole purpose or dharma thing, right? We're at a really young age. We're trying to say to them, what makes you tick? Like, here's 9 things that I do in a typical day, because any business owner will tell you, you wear 9 hats. And which one do you like? Which one do you think you could get a little bit into? You know, let's have a conversation about any one of these avenues. So yeah, I think we're doing the same thing with our kids. And, you know, you do worry that like you're forcing them to grow up too fast, right? But I think at the end of the day, you're giving them financial literacy far beyond their years. So it's not like you're still not, if anything, as a business owner, you're carving out more time where you get to do what you want, or you get to go on that vacation, or you get to take the, you know, I have my grandmother's birthday party. I'm not going to miss it. I never have to miss anything. I have to delegate my time, and maybe lots of time goes into it. But I think we're just leaning into it. We're like, you know what? This is part of your life, the way it would be part of cleaning the house or cooking dinner. It's part of our family, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think we have the same type of mentality where we're like, we can't wait for them to be able to get involved in the decision making. And I think too, as a business owner, I felt this as a kid growing up in my house, that like, you don't have any legacy to pass down, right? We're like, I have 9 legacies to pass, you know, which legacy do you want? Please take one of the legacies off my plate, right?
Yeah.
Any one of these pieces, please take it and make it yours and make it better than I did it, right? So I think it's really exciting having kids like at the table when you're doing stuff like this. So
yeah, imagine that, you know, they take the business and run it better and make it, improve it, and
same sentiment.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I keep saying that to Anna. I'm like, I'm working so hard, baby. So like in 10 years, like when I hand this down to you, it's going to look so different than, you know, 10 years, like right now, right? Like in 10 years, what I'm fighting for is going to look so different when I pass it on to you, and you can keep going and take it from there. So yeah, I think it's exciting. Well, I already asked you this, but the first property you said was a student rental. That's a lot. Yeah. And what's happened since then in terms of your property investments?
Well, we got out of students. We got out of students not because they were hard to manage, but the student body are shrinking a bit. So we thought that, you know, the future, we wanted to go into mixed use and commercial, and that's where we are now. And so currently we're looking for properties that need to be rehabilitated, and
specifically commercial.
Mixed use, because we focus on, it could be specifically commercial, it could be specifically residential. We work with both, but mixed use is kind of our specialty. Mixed use retrofit, and that just deals with a certain part of the code book that either you're in it or you're not. So we seem to have learned enough about it to where that's where we want to focus.
Cool.
So we don't get into like new build. We don't do any of that type stuff. We're mainly just retrofit.
Do you find that people are like bringing you properties now?
I do a lot of the staff call it free consulting for coffee. So I'm passionate about real estate. So anytime anyone has any questions or wants to talk shop, I'm more than willing to give them my time. I do a lot of advising through Natalie's network and my network. We oftentimes help each other or help the client by using our networks.
Right.
So either Natalie can advise on how to sell or to move the property to either benefit themselves or the sale. And I come in when it comes in terms of construction or changing use or what type of development would make sense for that type of building.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think once you're in it, right, then like you end up getting more and more opportunities because you're networking. And
more and more opportunities for sure. And actively, it's a community, right? We all kind of know one another, and we see each other at the bank meetings and those type things where we're all. But so whenever we're the community is constantly kind of working with each other to either partnership, because we have partners. I mean, I have partners pretty much on everything, including my wife, but outside of my wife, everything has partners. So
it's fun that way. I feel like you brought up a really fun point, and I'm finding it too. I think whenever you're in whatever field you're in, but specifically business, I find it so fun to get into like consultant roles, right? Like you get yourself to a point where you're like, all I want to do is like pass on this information that I've like blood, sweat, and tears over, right?
Absolutely.
Like I don't want anyone to go through the pain of like that decision I made. So it's really fun. Now I'm also getting myself into a position where I'm doing a lot of consulting, mostly with my dance teachers, because like I've gone through it. I've done the ground floor. I've taught a million classes, and I really know what works with kids and doesn't. So yeah, getting into like a mentorship role, I think, is like really powerful. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it's a really great, you can't appreciate it unless you also appreciate your age.
Yeah.
So it takes it and it flips it on its head, where you're like, man, I'm getting really old, but you're like, but I'm so smart. I have
wisdom.
Right? I have so much wisdom now.
Yes.
So I think it's really fun is getting to be an entrepreneur and being like, oh, you know what? I can talk about this. I've had enough experience to talk about it. And and you're passionate about it, right? So that's why you end up giving it out for coffee.
Giving it out for coffee.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, after I wind my role down in the business, I really feel that consulting would be the future. I love
100%.
helping people. I love building my community. I love watching the businesses we work with and the spaces that we work on. It comes to life. You've revisited in a few years after lots of hard work, and it's this beautiful, thriving business that's not only helping the people who work and own the business, but the community. It all comes together, and people can also make a living at it. So for me, I don't know of any other industry that affects the community as much and as long as our industry.
Totally. Yeah. You're like a proud parent.
Proud parent, yes. You see the building you worked on, even you may not own it anymore. You may have sold it to do other projects, but you drive by it and you still have a sense of pride.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's that emotional attachment. We still drive by like our old houses and we're just like, oh, there's our...
Yeah.
Can't
help it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like your stepping stones, right?
Yeah.
Your baby book of properties. Cool. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to get kind of just a little more specifically into your entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And I think it was a perfect segue. Yeah. What's the most valuable lesson that you've learned in business so far?
Oh man, that is a really good question.
A loaded question. I know.
It is a loaded question because you never really stop learning lessons. I mean, I guess early on, one of the biggest lessons for me was I really believed that we would find one bank that we would work with and kind of develop a future with. But banks, sometimes they want to fund, sometimes they don't. So the partnership is never truly even. I don't know and I'm trying not to be, I mean, it's challenging, right? The financing part of it. I guess what I'm trying to say is that to my surprise as a young business guy, that banks weren't necessarily there. It's just a clean black and white business relationship. There's nothing warm about it, I guess, right. Without getting too into it. But I mean, there's so much you learn that are positive too. I mean, the type of personnel, the teams that you work with, how to get things done, the type of emotion you bring to certain tables, whether it's political, whether it's you're talking to an engineer, you're talking to a business owner. You're talking to a politician, these type of, you learn a certain acumen over the years to better those relationships, to make them more smoother, to be able to move things the direction that you want. But the most valuable, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say partnership is probably the most valuable thing I've learned over the years. It's something that's very scary. You hear a lot of stories of partnerships not working out. And also too, I mean, partnership working, even having a partnership with your wife, a business partnership with your wife, can also be challenging. So, but I can firmly say, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without my wife and without my partners. And I think that's the biggest eye-opening thing that I've learned over the years is that it takes a team, it takes good partners, it takes a lot of great thought and preparation, but you can't do it yourself. So, so that's probably the lesson. If you want to be successful, you have to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, I love that. So I just like a little bit of backstory. So our listeners know this, but up until last year, and I think I was telling you when we met the last time, my business was just me. I was a solopreneur, and I prided myself on that. It was just me because I wasn't reaching out to anyone. I was also just, it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work with these partnerships. You have to like put the effort in, and my kids were young. So like it was easier for me to just grind and do every single part of my business. And I don't knock it because I can consult on any part of my business. I've done every single part of it. But I'm learning that two things. One, yes, I'm learning that like it doesn't work without partnership. And then when you put yourself out there and you develop partnerships, it's so much more, yes, successful, but it's also so much more energetic because you're working on a team. It's not you just by yourself, an island being like, yes, like I hit that goal or I hit that whatever checkpoint. You have people around you that are celebrating with you and they're your cheerleader. And I agree. I think that I've learned that lesson the hard way, which was doing it by myself for so long. And all of a sudden hitting a wall with my kids and my studio and my business and being like, I can't do this anymore. It's either I quit or I hire, or I make the first hire, and then I made the second hire and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth. And then you have this team around you and you're like, why did I wait 10 years? Like, why was I this horrible, miserable island complaining that I was doing everything? People are out there, they want jobs, right? Like and in my mind, I was just like, oh, these people are, I own them. I'm their boss. Like I hated that idea. But it's crazy when a good boss happens and they're so hyper aware of the fact that they are so loving and so empathetic and so respectful of their partnerships. They make the best bosses. So now I'm in a situation where I am hyper aware and I would never want to take advantage of someone. And I'm always so sensitive about it. And really, it's about navigating, right? It's navigating those relationships, and depending on the relationship, being able to use the partnership to like both get successful together, which is, I agree. I think it's been a total flip on my head. And the other thing I thought was crazy that you mentioned was the bank situation. And I agree. I think we have this mentality because we're borrowing money. It's the craziest thing that you can ask of someone. So you have this mentality that you're going to make your friend, and your friend's lending you money so you can go invest, and they believe in you. And we have this this misunderstanding that like it's this like person or entity that's lending us their money. No, they're a corporation, they're a business. They have a specific amount, just like we do. They have a P&L. They have a certain amount of money that can go out. It has to make this much money yield. You have to show them this much money. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's a business, right? So I agree with you. I think it's been really hard for us to understand. I thought, the first yes I got on my first house, that was going to be my lender for my whole life.
Yeah.
And it never has been since. I've had a different lender for every single house I bought.
Yeah.
So it's wild.
I remember like when I got my first mortgage for 6th Ave, like our first house, like there was this great guy that was there, like went in there and had this great conversation, and you're exchanging all this stuff about your life, and I was like, oh wow, nice guy, sign all the papers. And then I had some issue or something with my mortgage, so I was like, oh, is this guy there, and thinking that he's like my representative or whatever, and they're just like, oh no, he's gone, he left. Like, and I remember I saw him like the next summer handing out business cards somewhere, like at an event or something like that. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, he was just a number there.
He's not
he's not your friend. He's not your friend. I know, it's totally true.
Yeah.
I asked you this at the barbecue when we met up last time, but like how do you decide if something's worth investing in or not? How do you decide where you put your eggs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of analysis, a lot of discussion. We try to come up with ways to measure the metrics. We have spreadsheets that give us certain indications. We use certain things like cap rates to give an indication of what the value may be. We work with appraisers and banks to see what the appetite of the of the market is. But it really is. I mean, I probably do 1 or 2 a week. I'm just trying to think of the actual how many come through. Maybe 1 or 2 a year come through.
Right. Like 1 or 2 that you're like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is a good deal.
We work through the negotiation with the seller or the buyer, try to get it to where we believe it makes sense. Once we have that number in mind, we go to the bank, make sure they're okay with it. If they show it and they want to fund it, then we'll employ appraisers and other professionals to kind of back up the value, and then we go for the loan and take the ride. Take the ride for the project. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of things have to come together. Half of the fun, for me anyway, is going to see the properties and talking to the owners. And some deals take years to come together. For 2 years, I bought a gentleman vodka. He was an older Polish gentleman who loved vodka, and we would drink vodka random Sundays for years, until he finally agreed to do the deal.
Wow.
So normally, yeah, they start out you make the connection and you go from there, but they can take a while.
I've listened to so many business podcasts that are like, you need to be likable. I'm like, am I likable? Maybe I just need to buy vodka.
Yes. I mean, likable. Yeah. I mean, honest, I think, brings the guard down a bit. I always show them my numbers to the prospective buyer or seller. Like, there's no real magic to what we're doing. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of calculation. We always offer them even a piece of the pie if they believe that they're giving their property up for a lower number, for them to come in as a partner, a silent partner, if they believe that they're giving up something.
Right.
So my approach is just be real, be honest, and if it does happen, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice to know that, like, you're looking at 2 a week and only 1 or 2 or a year is happening. I mean, it's good for people to have that perspective because I'll have people, a lot of times will say to me, like, we've been looking for years, and I'm like, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, it can take a long time for it to make sense for you to buy something. I think a lot of people, especially we saw during the pandemic, a lot of emotional purchases.
Definitely. And that's the key there. Emotion is no part of the process.
Yeah. And it's hard not to, because you're right. The fun part is to like go and see, and if you're a visionary,
oh my goodness,
you're like, I can see this,
beautiful schools with gymnasiums or pools or views or driveways, some beautiful driveways, gates, lions, statues in front,
naked mermaid statues.
There's a lot of beautiful things.
Exactly.
Gun ranges built into the basements of houses, and things that people are into.
Yeah, and it can be emotional because it's passionate.
It's passionate, and you see things, and the vision goes. You're excited, and then you
blind.
You're blind.
Your vision goes, and you're blind. You can't see.
You talk to the city, and the city says no. You talk to the bank says no, and you're still
you're
pushing
like, I'm still
it.
A yes.
You're still, well, what if we sell everything and put all our ducks in one row? And then,
do you know how many times we've had that conversation?
Oh yeah.
He'll just get a text at 2 a.m. being like, "We're selling everything." He's like, "No, we're not."
Yes. Yeah. That's what is good for partnerships, because you get back to the table, everyone's weighing in, and you can kind of reel in some of the emotion from your partners. Yeah.
So I guess, my next question is, how would we're constantly consulting and advising and recommending with people, but how would you advise someone gets into real estate now?
Do your research. There's lots of ways. Find a mentor or somebody who knows the industry, because the industry can eat you up if you're not prepared. There's costs that are hidden all around every corner with everything you want to do. If you have a vision, you need to make sure that everything is vetted and you've gone through everything with detail before you start putting any money into the property, because being well prepared and understanding the situation you're getting into is probably half the battle. Mm-hmm. And then finding the right personnel to do the project with is the other half.
Right.
So, you just got to be careful. In terms of how would you get into it, if I were to start now, I would loop up with somebody who has done it before and find good partners. Because I wouldn't have been able to do our first property, we had a doctor who was actually, he wasn't even a doctor yet. He was graduating to become a doctor. And because he was with the doctors union, he was the one who would get the approval for the loan. I was just a small business guy. There was no way they were going to give me money.
Right.
So strategic partnerships and also having an open eye and understanding what you're getting into.
Yeah.
That's the first way.
Definitely.
Don't do it yourself.
Yeah, don't do it by yourself. I know.
Yeah.
You look back on your life and you're like, man, how did we do it? But I think it's a different time now in terms of qualification. It's a different, scenario now. The amount that you need to have as a down payment is just like insane. Long gone are the days you're putting $6,000 and getting anything, not even land. So yeah, I think you're right. If you can find people, and I always tell people too, I'm like, talk to your parents. Like, they have paid off houses. They want you to thrive. And if, as long as you're not fooling around and you do all those numbers and you make sure you're working with like consultants that are helping you in terms of making sure you're not getting burned, your parents are there. Like, ask them. Don't be, I think our generation, especially now, is really, there's still kind of that pride mindset where they're like, I don't want to ask my parents for help. And I'm like, well, do you want to live in their basement forever? Yes. That's the alternative.
I mean, you have to leverage your support network.
Exactly.
For sure. Every
Exactly.
And yeah, absolutely. It's there is some pride where people want to do it themselves, but to leverage your supports and borrow money from whoever you can is part of the process.
Totally.
And yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, this is, devastating to me driving around seeing it, but I think now more than ever, I'm seeing like half-finished projects, right? People are just like, they put the boards up on the house and now it's done. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I know what that means. Like, you ran out of money. And then what? And now you're trying to sell that, and like nobody wants that. And I know the mortgage is, it's happening every month. So now you're out of money, and the mortgage is still going to come out, or the property tax and the all the things. So I think you hit the nail on the head of like people being really strategic and specific about their budgets and realizing like double it. Whatever you think it's going to cost, double it, because there's so many hidden things that come up, or even just time working against you, that a project doesn't get finished, that people are not giving themselves enough margin and wiggle room to get projects finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're biting off more than they can chew, and they're not doing partnerships. So they're ending up, a lone wolf and drowning. Yeah.
This industry is not for the light at heart. I mean, if you don't do your homework, it'll eat you up.
Yeah. You mentioned mentors, and I love talking to visionaries about their mentors. Did you have any influences or mentors along the way?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't totally convinced when I first started the business, and I had a real tough time leveraging and putting my family at risk. I had a young family and, bills to pay, but having great mentors allowed me to move forward on a lot of things. I'm just trying to think, like, you have business guys that obviously are business people. Lots of
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone. No, I mean, he wasn't around when I was. Well, he was around, but I didn't. He wasn't on social media at the time. But Grant Cardone may be a mentor to some people. Who's
he's
Mr.
loud. That's
Mr.
for
Wonderful.
Sure.
I mean, they're entertaining.
Yeah.
But mentorship on the business side, but people management, talking to people who understand. I found, like you'd bump into people and all, like even at the gym, the guy next to me who I remember one day I was so down, I'd lost this argument I had with the city, and they had made the justification not to agree with me, and I was just down in the dumps, and I didn't know what to do, and I was sitting down and getting ready I was at the gym, and the guy next to me was changing, and he said, "Buddy, are you okay? You seem like you're a little down." And I said, "Man, I'm just dealing with something with the city, and I'm having a real tough time." And he happened to be in real estate, and he started asking me questions. I told him my problem, and he's like, "Oh, well, you just do this and this and this, and apply it that way, and you can get around it." And I looked and I said, "Oh my goodness, like I
could kiss you."
I mean, the ability for somebody to see you struggling and be able to just inject the help.
Yeah.
It happens quite often.
I know.
And from the strangest places,
right.
So yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And I think you were talking about it at the beginning of like when you were answering the question, but just having that like confidence to take risks sometimes, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
We're the same way. Anytime you're going and like you said, you're putting your family in jeopardy. What if this doesn't work and we lose everything and we don't have a house to live in? At the beginning, it feels that big when you're making, your first or second, you're making moves. You're like, oh God, this could really not work. And I could, we could end up not being able to pay our bills. So I think also mentors bring that like confidence because they've lived it and they've already been through it. And they're like, oh yeah, like I had this one property and this, exact same scenario. And this is what I did. And just like, telling you kind of where to put pressure sometimes, right? That you never would have thought of.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a shout out to our uncle Pietro. But yeah, I've many times called him in tears and just been like, help. He's like, oh, you're fine. Like we got this. So yeah, I agree. I think mentors are such like a big, even just to like lean on and like you said, just problem solve. And also, they've been through it.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Usually a lot worse. And then I also think we were talking about this in the middle of our episode is that you get to become a mentor. You'll have scenarios where someone will say something to you and you're like, you're good. Like, don't worry. Just do this and you're fine,
Absolutely. So
I think that becomes really powerful too. That like when you get to be, like you said, like you get to be the teacher,
Yeah.
You've been through it, lived through it. So this leads us right into the next one. How do you stay motivated? Is there like a, when we have this much money, we get to quit?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like you convince yourself that it's about the money, but if the grind is so real that you really got to love it.
Yeah.
It's like
glutton for punishment, I say.
I joke about we could like retire. I joke about retiring, but I think we would just start and get into something else.
Right.
It's how most small business people are built, or any entrepreneur is built. They're constantly kind of thinking and always looking to be more efficient, always looking to better. So it's hard to put that on hold, even though if you close the business or move on or sell the business.
Yeah.
So I often think about what's next, and that's why I love the mentorship business or mentorship, just concentrating on that.
Yeah.
Because like you get to help somebody and wind it down at the same time and still stay busy. So
yeah, maybe that's what the next.
It's scary to think, what are you gonna do?
Right. Yeah. Especially with kids, because I always talk to parents and I'm like, they're gonna leave us, and they're like, no, they're not. They're gonna live in our basement forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just staying motivated, I think it's hard, right? And a lot of time, there's lots of mornings where I wake up and I'm like, I can't. And, by lunch, I'm like, I'm bored. All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
It's go time.
Let's do it. Yeah.
What's the legacy that you hope to leave for St. Catharines and also for your family?
Man, I think about this, as you're getting older, what legacy is so important. I just think I would like my legacy to be is that I left it better than I received it.
Oh, I love that.
Something along those lines, because I like fixing, I like improving, and I like passing it on.
Yeah.
So I would be really happy if that was my legacy.
That's what people said about you.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I've always kind of looked at, I think a long time it was dollars and cents for me. It was, or maybe like how many kids, I'd be like, oh, I want to know, like, I want to pass on this many students to my child or whatever. But I agree with you. I think as you get older, you start to really like, you get perspective and you're hungry in different ways. You're hungry about, you're compassionate, right? You like care so much about the people and the places around you. So yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's more of like a value system. Like I want to be remembered as being, compassionate and passing, like you said, like being able to dig in and be helpful to people around me and, be joyful and pass on, optimism and fun and all the things, right? It's more of like a value legacy now, instead of when you're young, you're just like, I want 7 houses and $25 million,
assets.
Assets.
Yes.
But now, it's like when you get to be 40, you start to, like you said, like kind of wind down, and you're like, I just want to pass on, like, people thinking that, I was having a good time and I was fun to be around or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. That girl was a good time. That's what I want them to say. I want my kids to be like, my mom, she was fun. Awesome. Okay, so you were talking about partnership, and I know Jacob's kind of talked about the Kesh Group. Mm-hmm. Is there a place, are you taking people that are, maybe interested in investing? Are you, where can people get involved? Where can they invest with you?
Yeah, I mean, we're always open for partnership. We have many different partnerships. My door is always open. I love talking shop. I love talking real estate, especially in St. Catharines. I have the most connection with it, and I feel that I'm more well versed in that area than any other. Mm-hmm. But in terms of how could they get involved, I mean, contacting us, coming into the office, understanding what the first couple things that they need to get in order to even start the process, understanding what's available in the market, how to look for certain things. I have a simple spreadsheet that I give to every investor that's sort of looking for a property, and it's a quick calculator to understand where your numbers will be initially when it's a good indicator to start the process.
Fun.
And play the game, just like I was saying, 1 or 2 a week, and find how you can make if a property looks good on paper, then how do you secure a loan, or how do you figure out the financing is the next step, so step by step. And we have not only the Kesh Group, but there are 7 companies in our office, and they all deal with different aspects of real estate. So we're kind of like a one-stop shop, and from mortgages to construction to electrical, HVAC, all that type stuff, and you'll be able to get put it in the right direction for sure.
Amazing. So we'll get your contacts, and we'll drop it in the link underneath the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
So people can get in touch.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
My goodness. It was so fast.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It goes fast when it's good talks.
When you're having fun. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And definitely would love to have your wife and have you guys out again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Anytime.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, and you'll never miss a podcast.
Right on. Good night.
Good stuff.